Hello. So now we are welcome back to tarot reading, but now we are on to um, 6 and 7 of all the suits. So let's go ahead and get started. I hope y'all, you want to get all your sixes and your sevens out. So we'll start with the Six of Swords. The swords, remember, swords is about conflict, okay? One is on their way to healing in many cards. Oh, wait a minute. I have all this written down, so let me start over. One is on their way to healing. In many of the cards, there is a full moon in the background. See, as you can see here, there's a full moon right here. And the person in a boat with a, which is a spirit guide. So here's like the spirit guide or angel healer, whatever. And the water, it might be a little choppy, but remember, water is about healing. But they are moving in the boat towards the full moon. This signifies that the person is on their way to letting go of the painful conflict. They're still turning away because there's still pain and shame, but the healing has begun. So let me just explain this to you. There's 6 swords, and again, swords is conflict, and they're moving away. They're starting to drift away very slowly from the conflict or pain that they have been going through. The full moon always represents releasing something, an energy that you no longer need or that's not working for you. In pain, wounds of the past, that's what this is all about. Something that has wounded you very badly and just really knocked you to the core. And you're on your way to healing. It's maybe very slow because there's still shame and still guilt. Because there's some of it that you're still not willing to face, but you're on your way. You're on your way to that path. And the full moon reflects you letting go of it. So the next one is Wands. Wands, things have been coming together. There has been a great deal of accomplishment. Remember, Wands is about work. It is a time of feeling victorious, but there is still much more work to do. So do not think you're done, because you're not. So in this card, and again, I'm using the Alice in Wonderland deck, which I think is great. So in this card, you're the leader here, and you've got all the people that are cheering you on to continue on. You've had success and whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. You even have the wreath hanging over the staff. See, in the background, there's a lot of trees growing, and when I see this, I see that you're on a field, but there's growth. See the growth in the empty field? And so there has been a lot that you've accomplished, but don't get too cocky. Don't think that it's over or that you're at the finish line, because there is still a lot more to go. But pat yourself on the back because you've done a lot. The Six of Cups, it is emotional growth from the past. Sometimes someone from the past may come to you. They may come to you in person. They may come to you in a memory or a dream. But there's something from the past. There's a time when you realize that you have blossomed and evolved and grown from that past experience. And I absolutely love this card. I did a physical class yesterday, and we really got a lot out of the card. Remember, an elephant never forgets. So here's an elephant up here. This is your memory, and purple representing the third eye. Third eye is where you are open to going into other portals. That's part of where you can go to heal. And see the butterfly. butterfly, meaning that, yes, you went into the portal or whatever it was you needed to do to open your third eye so that you could see things more, that you could see the forest through the trees in regards to whatever that situation, that person, that memory, whatever it is that you had. And you notice these cups and they're blossomed. It looks like, to me, it looks like marshmallows, like some sort of a dessert. But anyway, it's a time for feasting, because all the flowers back here in the background represent blossoming. So you're evolving and you're blossoming. You're moving forward. She's no longer that little girl anymore. She is, and a lot of the cards, I have another deck of cards where it's a woman and there's a little girl standing next to her, indicating that she has now evolved into the woman, or she's moving in that direction. So that's what this card means, is that there's something of the past, a memory, going back here to the elephant never forgets. It could come in, like I said, it could be somebody that comes to you physically, or a memory, a dream, whatever. And that is the universe's way of helping you to see the forest through the trees, the big picture. Because sometimes when something happens to us, especially when we're children, we don't understand why that happened. So we hold on to it and we perceive it as we perceive it at that moment. And it can be very, very painful. It may be years later down the road that we have, again, a dream, or we revisit that situation. And we've gone through a lot of other things by this time in our lives, and we've grown. And so we're able to see the situation that we're trying to heal from at a different perspective. I'll give you a good example. I talk about this, talk about my dad a lot in my examples, because my dad just passed away. But my dad, growing up with him, he was very hard. He wasn't strict or anything like that, but his way of showing that he loved me or anybody else in the family was through money or buying things for them, making sure they had a place to stay or whatever. He couldn't put his arms around me and tell me that he loved me, because he grew up, his dad was an alcoholic. His mom was a wonderful woman, but she grew up on a farm. Things were very, very hard. So he didn't really get the nurturing that he needed as a child to be able to carry that into his adult life. So he was like really hard, like he only saw black and white. There was no in between. And he would say some of the cruelest, meanest things to me. He would have me in tears. And I got to a point where I couldn't be around him. And then his dementia kicked in, like really kicked in. And around the Christmas holidays, the dementia was just so far gone that he had no clue who he was, but he was very touchy-feely, always putting his arms around me and everybody else, telling them how much he loved them, and just rubbing my shoulder and holding my hand and everything. And what I was able to see, all these years, he had hurt me so many times, and some of the things that he said to me. But what I was able to see was that, wow, he has dementia. He's no longer in the world where it was so hard and cold for him. This world is what made him so hard and cold, and why he acted with me and so many other family members like he did. He was really deep in his heart a very gentle, very kind man. So I was able to see that and evolve from that and heal from it. So that's what this card, like this would be a great card in that situation. So again, you're remembering something, but you're also evolving from that situation, and that's a great thing, because it means that you're on your way to more grounding within yourself and being more in alignment with the universe. The Six of Pentacles, again, Pentacles is about money. The scales are coming into balance and you have more than you need. Be careful to see the cup half full and not half empty. Because if you see the cup half empty, you're blocking your abundance. So I love this card. As you can see, the clouds are starting to clear. And there's the scales. I don't know if you can see it in this card, but here's the scales. And I mean, look at all the food. The table is just, it's a feast there. So when you get to the 6, it's telling you that, you're on your way. You've got more than enough. You've got plenty. But the problem is sometimes we're trying to get somewhere and we're not seeing the forest. Well, we see the cup half empty rather than half full. And sometimes that can be the problem with this card. But when I see this card, this is telling me, when it's upright, it's telling me that whoever I'm reading for, that yes, they know that they're on the right path. Things are going really good. The scales are coming into balance. Life, there's an abundance in their life and they're grateful for it. But it also warns them to continue to stay that way. Because if you start feeling like, oh, I don't have enough, I need more of this, just feeling like you want more, then it blocks. I remember a long time ago, I was talking to a friend of mine and I was telling him, all the things that I'd been manifesting. And I said, well, I want this and this and this and this. And he was laughing at me. And I couldn't understand why he was laughing. And he said, Lisa, you've already got everything that you've asked the universe for. It's already there. I'm like, really? Because I don't see it. He said, yeah, once you manifested it, it was already orchestrated it. He said, it's like you're here and your manifestations are here. All the stuff in between from getting you to your manifestations, that is your own blockage. Your thoughts about not having enough and so forth and so on. You're doing that to yourself. You are self-sabotaging yourself. So stop that. And we'll get more into that, because when we're going to start doing, I'm going to start teaching money, like money spells, not necessarily spells, but drawing more money to you. We'll be talking about that, because a lot of it has to do, you can do all kinds of money spells and everything that you want, but it's more about the attitude of gratitude, as what a friend of mine told me one time. So now we're going on to the 5. Is that right? Oh, you know what? We did this backwards. I'm so sorry. We're supposed to do the 5 first, but that's okay. I'm a little wonky today. That's all right. So let's do the 5. It's backwards. So we're going to do the 5. Let me go back to it then. There we go. Swords. Well, you might be winning the battle, but you're not winning the war. It's not too late to mend the situation. So, you got to learn. Swords, conflict, but you got to learn to pick your battles. And when I see the 5 of Swords, it's like, okay, there's something going on in somebody's life, but is it really so important that they gotta make a mountain out of a molehill. I mean, 9 times out of 10, these things are gonna work themselves out on their own. You just have to be quiet and go on about your life. Um, but I mean, here we have like the queen here, and she's hell bent that she's going to get her last word in. You don't always have to get the last word. I mean, you're fighting this battle, um, and you're not even being, and many times you feel like, or you're not being heard, so you got to pick your battles. And so that's what this card is about. And once you realize that this is a battle worth fighting, then you can, like go back and retract and make it better. I mean, just work on mending that situation, because you're going to need to. 5 of Cups, regrets and remorse of the relationship. You are focused more on the bad than the good of the other person. The 5 is always about missed opportunities. And it's, the cups, remember, is about healing. Water represents healing, emotions, love, and that sort of thing. So it's like you're wanting the healing, and see how she's reaching for those cups that are spilled. But she's got these 2 cups here that are full. But she's focused really more on the bad, the spilled milk, and she's trying to reach for it because she's not going to let it go. So, so what this card is representing is, again, pick your battles, but you gotta there are things that you just gotta let go. Just let it go. Let it go. Because if you don't, then the emotional healing on other aspects of your life are going to be blocked as well. So don't miss the opportunity of getting the emotional healing that is already there for you. Don't focus on the bad. 5 of Wands. Again, Wands is about work, competition and rivalry, butting heads with others, and struggling for your own voice to be heard, in the workplace, or it could be a family situation, could be a relationship, whatever. But it's something that you're working on, and there may be other people involved. Again, my dad passed away, and he had some things that he left behind, things that he had from high school. My dad was a very, very, very popular in high school. He was the captain of the football team. There were newspaper articles written about him every week. My grandmother kept a scrapbook of that, all those clippings. His yearbook were my mother, because my dad married my mother, who was his high school sweetheart. She had a full page, front page of his yearbook, writing about how much she loved him, how their marriage was going to be so perfect, blah, 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 blah. Well, it wasn't so perfect because they got divorced when I was 5. And he also had a high school jacket, which I'm not even going to talk about that. But his letter jacket, he gave it to me when I was 9. But anyway, he married another woman when I was about 12 or 13. So he just passed away. And I was told by my stepsister, who was pretty much handling the estate and everything, that she was going to give me the originals of the newspaper clippings. And so they had given me his car, which was really such a blessing for me. I mean, it was really great. And they gave me some money, to pay for 6 months up front of insurance. So I was really, really blessed. So as my sister was writing out, filling out the documents or whatever that she needed to transfer the title of the car over to me, I had remembered her telling me that she was going to give me the newspaper clippings of the scrapbook that my grandmother had saved for my dad. And she said, yeah, you'll get that after mom, her mother, who is my dad's wife, she said, yeah, you'll get that after mom passes away. Right now, that belongs to mom. And it kind of pissed me off because I think anything before he met this woman should be given to me, period. Especially the yearbook and the jacket and the clippings. But anyway, I said, and what about the yearbook? She said, yeah, you'll get that too. But I have to wait for this woman to die before I get any of those things. And, you know, I got to tell you, I wanted to raise holy hell. I just sat there with my hands folded and my legs crossed. I was like, okay. And I didn't say anything. And God, I tell you what, it pissed me off. It pissed me off. I had so much that I wanted to say. And I just sat there and didn't say anything. And I spent a day, like the next couple of days, I just like really brewed over it. So mad. And then the next day, after all the brewing, I woke up and it was like, I don't want them. They're not that important. I don't need to have them. She can have them. If they're that important to her, let her have them. I mean, if she were to die today, I still don't want them because it just carries that ugliness, that she put on it, So I don't want them. They can have them. I had my dad. I got the healing that I needed from him, and so that's good. It's good, and I feel like my dad is with me all the time. So again, it was a situation where I was trying to work through some things, and I had to pick to just get out of it, get out of the drama or whatever. I could have made so much drama out of this, and I decided, nah, it's not worth it. So this is the same thing. Again, it kind of goes along with the Five of Swords. Pick your battles, because you're not going to be hurt. I could have screamed and shouted, and they still would have won the battle here, because in the will, everything goes to my stepmother. So it didn't matter what I had to say. That I was not going to be heard. So you gotta, and also with this, and I was talking with one of my students yesterday about this card. It also can represent, like, on the workplace, where you're always going to have that person that is going to stir up the shit pot. It's always going to happen. And you can get involved, or you can just go on about your business. You got to decide, is it really worth it? And just go on about your business. I had a vintage clothing store, and there was a lady, she's still there, but she has a store a couple of doors down from me. It's a beautiful store. She's very, very successful, and she is a ladies' consignment store. And she came into my store one day, and she had opened her store maybe, 6 months, 4 months maybe after I had opened my store. And I was, learning how to run my store and what worked and what didn't work. And so I was bringing in a lot more clothes and jewelry. And she walked in one day and to talk, just hang out and talk to me, see what I was up to. And she was like going through my racks of clothes, and she said, "Oh, so you're competing with me now?" And I said, "No, I'm competing with me." You see, the way I looked at it was, I didn't give a rat's ass about her business. I mean, I hope she was successful, but she's not paying my bills. I had a business to run, so I needed to do what I felt was best for my business and mind my own business. So I was not in competition with her. I sent her a lot of people, as she sent people to me as well. So, and I remember her response when I told her that. I said, "No, I'm in competition with myself." She said, "Good answer." So, so you don't need to have rivalries, because all rivalries do is cause conflict and stress, and and it's usually somebody that has some sort of inferior complex of themselves, and they have to stir the fucking pot. So the next one is the Five of Pentacles. Pentacles, again, about money. You have run into some difficult times. Don't be afraid to ask for help and open yourself to new opportunities. Often that is God's way of helping. You know, when things aren't working for us financially, and we are like financially strapped, and we don't know where to go or what to do next, and we have that tunnel vision that only this is going to work, and it's not working, so what are we going to do? And you see, you know, he's trying to, the frogman, he's trying to drag her because there's a new opportunity, and she's seeing herself as crippled, and she's scared. You know, she's scared to take that risk. The reason why that person may be having some difficulties is because the universe put that in front of them so they could move into this new direction, because there is really something great. So if this financial situation didn't happen to them, then they would just keep going the way that they're always going. So you have to look at this opportunity like, okay, why is this happening? What is the universe trying to show me? Is there a new opportunity somewhere for me? And just be wide open to explore. So that's what this card represents. So we've already gone 26 minutes. I try to keep these at 20 minutes, but thank you for listening, and we will move on to 7 and 8, and I will have it in order this time. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.